look back at these things that happened, whether I tripped or whatever the situation was. I had a booger on my face. Happens all the time. But you look back and you're like, man, at the time, it seemed like the end of the world. But hopefully you get to a point in your life where you can kind of laugh at it. I don't know, what embarrassing, what kind of embarrassing?
I would say just your daily life.
But I was also the guy who would, maybe I just don't have a lot of shame. Because I was also the guy who would start giggling when I farted. I'm giggling. So I don't know. I try to choose, and it's a choice. It's a choice you make constantly. I try to choose to laugh at the silly things that happen to everybody. And if somebody wants to judge me because of something that happened, hell with them. Right?
I'd say that, I mean, I agree with you in a way that I think the older that you get, the less embarrassed you get about stuff. And whether that's just a sign of maturity or just a sign of lack of caring. Because there were times in my adolescence, when things would happen, I would physically be embarrassed about things that would happen. And that doesn't happen anymore. And I think maybe it's because if somebody is willing to judge me, then I don't really care what they think.
I still love you as much. It's all right.
What were you going to say?
Oh, nothing. You're not interested.
Did you feel like you had more freedom playing Demon Theme than regular Theme?
That I have more fun?
More freedom.
Oh, more freedom. We've got these headsets in and I still can't hear. No. And that's just technically speaking. I think because I was trying to do something, I would say that the character absolutely had more freedom because he was a demon. And speaking of not caring about what people think, this guy definitely did not care about anything, like laws of society. Or karaoke, or singing on key. That was could care less. So in that regard, yes, the character had much more freedom, but because of that, I really tried to rein myself into thinking about how I was going to do that, facilitate that, portray that in a way that I haven't done before. Because with Dean, I guess I'm so comfortable playing and doing it for a couple of years that I'm able to. The freedom is there because I know him so well. I can play him so well. I know his relationships with other characters so well. So just there's a free element to that as an actor. But with Demon Theme, it was hard. I'm sure you probably ran into the same experience with playing Soulless Sam or playing Lucifer or playing Carry On. The other dozen different variations of Sam that you had to play. You got to think a little bit harder. It's a little bit more restricting.
But you know what? I was thinking, since the question wasn't mine, I had time to think. No, but I actually I felt like Demon Sam, was it Born Under a Bad Sign? Or I think because Dean lives more freely than Sam does. Sam was going to be a lawyer to go to college. Dean has always kind of been devil may care, shoot first, ask questions later, right? Sam has kind of been a by the books guy. I think for Sam, being soulless or being a demon kind of did free him from what he thought he was supposed to be doing. Whereas Dean kind of lived like that anyways, Best Asian reunions in a motel room. That's awesome.
Yeah, but don't you, not to get into a philosophical debate here.
But what is peace? What is happiness?
There's a comfortability factor that comes with playing a character for a long time. And before we get up to the point, is because there's such a comfortability factor there, that frees you up to be able to explore the different nuances of the character. I knew that I only had 3 episodes of Demon Deep, and that put a strain on me as far as wanting to get the performance just right, really needing to have to drive home what I was trying to do, and I didn't feel free to just kind of explore what could happen. It's like, oh, well, don't do that again. I didn't have that luxury of DMD because I had to tell a very specific story in a very small amount of time. I wish that I had 10 episodes of DMD. And then I think maybe we would be able to peel those layers back a little bit more and kind of really, see this character. So, in that regard, I think it was, but the character certainly had more freedom. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hey, it works both ways. And action.
I love how much we get happy when it's over. It's like,
Yeah, because Jared and Jensen haven't died and like, when you go to see him in the meeting, like, hi Sam, how are you? Well, he's Uncle Jensen, and Uncle Griff, and then Mrs. Misha. It's like is it Uncle Jensen?
Uncle Jensen.
Uncle Jensen.
Uncle Jensen.
And Criffy. He calls Cliff either Uncle Criff or Criffy. He doesn't really know to do his L's yet. And then my 1-year-old just kind of bangs his head against the wall. He's not talking just yet. He did poop a rock the other day. That was
JJ does have a nickname for his wife, which is pretty funny, and she kind of came up with it on her own. She calls Jen Aunt Mama.
which is pretty awesome. Yeah, Aunt Mama.
She hears Tom calling her mama.
Mama,
Yeah. And Tom is not Tom. Tom is Nom. Nom. Learn your T's, kid. Learn your T's. There's only so much I can do.
Thanks, Sam.
All right.
You stole your question from the internet. It's plagiarizing.
Plagiarizing.
Like, why hasn't anybody ever decided to put salt in a lube? Just use that. It's like a permanent rain result.
A what?
Put salt in a lube.
In a loop?
No.
Oh, a hula loop.
Dean, hurry!
Well, now we're going to have hula hoops on Supernatural. I'd like to thank you.
And that is why
And that's why we're going to have...
and a hula. Thank you. That was disturbing.
It was. I really...
My eyeballs need a shower.
That was not disturbing for me.
You remember earlier I said, I'm embarrassed now. That was it. Don't play that again, because if it happens, I don't know that this will not happen. Once it starts, I know that there's a few men in here that got dragged in here by their significant other. And they're like, seriously? This is... I mean, the band's good.
How's it going?
And it probably looks like that. Anybody got an Advil?
Maybe there was one joke in the first 3 episodes, but now they're like, oh, he can do humor, let's have this. Or, oh, this fight scene is good, let's do that. And so,
Oh, he can eat things. Let's have him eat all the time.
So I think there's some kind of marriage of the two. I certainly don't, I think of Sam as an independent entity, if that makes any sense. I know that Jared is part of Sam and vice versa. And a lot of Sam comes from a lot of Jared, and probably vice versa, especially when I spent 10 years with the guy. But it's not a conscious thought. You know, my commitment to Supernatural is Sam, right? And so I'm not trying to be, it's not the Jared show or the Jensen show, it's what's going on with Sam and Dean. That's what I'm concerned with. And so I try to remain true to that. That's what's exciting to me. It's not exciting to like talk about myself.
Would you say, because I've had this question before and thought about it, I would say it's almost the opposite. I would say that Dean has grown more unlike Jensen and Sam more unlike Jared over the past 2 years than closer together. I think that in the beginning, because we were still trying to figure out these characters, where they belong in the world, how they related to other people, and how they related to their lives as, you know, hunters and this whole thing, we were using a lot of just our natural kind of, but ourselves, and pouring that into the character to bring it to life as best we know how. As it's progressed, the story progresses, the characters progress, and like you said, the writers start picking nuances that we do on screen that may not be a Jensen trait or a Jared trait, but may just have been something we did because we thought that would be a character thing. Then they started writing into those things. And I think over the past 10 seasons, Dean has certainly become a character that I play and less like who I actually am in certain ways. We certainly used to look alike and have the same hair, generally the same build. I'm a little taller than Dean. Very true. But no, I would say that Dean has become his own thing, like you said, their own entities. And, you know, certainly there are likenesses, but I think for the most part, it's actually separated us over the past 2 years. So, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Who's that?
Season 11.
Sure.
I don't know. I don't write this stuff.
What's funny is it wasn't introduced in an episode called Jump the Shark. Y'all know what that's a reference to? For those who don't know what the reference of Jump the Shark is about, there's a famous episode of Happy Days where the Fonzie is surfing and he jumps a shark. And apparently that was the beginning of the end for the Happy Days. Because people watched it, they were like, oh, this is a funny show, kind of real. They're like, wait a second, people are jumping sharks on surfboards? All right, turn that crap off. And so when we introduced a third brother, they joked that it was jumping the shark. We were ruining the show. They're like, listen, this could ruin the show. We don't know. We're just going to introduce it and see what happens. And the brother's not really the brother because he's a zombie, blah, 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 blah. But I think they are concerned that it really, if we brought him back, then it would really officially, we'd be kind of like, you know, poking the bear. So as much as we like Jake, I think it's probably best that Adam stay in hell.
I know Dean doesn't have a problem with it.
I love the idea that somebody is like walking through the hallways, and all I can hear is somebody going like, he should stay in hell. I'm not going to that route.
My question is for the both of you, and I was wondering, how would you cast yourselves, Misha and Mark Shepard, as the characters of Wizard of Oz?
Misha would be Dorothy. Shepard would be Toto. I'd have to be the big lion because this hair. I'd be the lion because the hair, because I cry a lot.
And I would be the Tin Man because I'm old and rusty. Thank you.
Thank you. How's it going, brother?
My question's for Jensen. You were
You just heard it recently. That's
Play it again!
It's so stupid. we have a saying that says
Dean, Salt Gun, Sam, Hula Hoop. That's happening so close to me. I don't.
oh yeah.
That's a good question. Favorite song? In what? In what?
It's been a show or just in general?
That's a big difference. Okay, well, 70s would obviously be Disco Duck by Rick Dees and then Y'all know Disco Duck? It's a stupid song. So that's my favorite 70s song. 80s would be, The Final Countdown. 90s would be I love someone's like, got it.
Somebody's back there is like, I got that. Actually, that was up next to my too.
90s was up Aha, so probably Take On Me would be. Hey, don't deny it. Don't deny it. Don't deny it. That's a tough question. That's a really difficult question. What's
My favorite song?
Yeah,
Black by Pearl Jam.
that's a good one. You like it better than I got Stuff by Pearl Jam? You know what? I don't know if it's my favorite song, but the song Just Breathe by Pearl Jam. It has a lot of meaning to me because when my first son was born, Jen went to labor at 9 o'clock on a Friday. Now we're talking. See, this is more like it. You're redeeming yourself with Disco Duck wherever you are. So Jen had made a playlist. Jen was going to do natural birth and have a playlist and all that jazz. And then it didn't go so well. And so from 9 o'clock on a Friday, 9 p.m. on a Friday, I was filming with Osric and literally was like, my wife's in labor. See you later. So I took off. That was 9 p.m. on a Friday. Tom was born at 7 a.m. on Monday. So it was a long labor, and there wasn't a lot of sleep in between. And finally, when we found out Tom was healthy and happy, they moved us to a room. She fell right asleep because she hadn't slept in 3 days. And I sat down and opened up. I couldn't move because I was like, I had a baby. I thought they were breakable. But her computer was right next to me, and I was like, just opened it up, and it was on the playlist. And I pushed play. And this is the song. This is the first song I heard as a flower. So,
That's cool.
that is, yeah. I love you back.
I love you back.
So that's me. Yeah. Yeah, thanks, man.
Thanks. Hi.
Hello.
Say Barbara Walters. I'm not going to get all that.
So I have a question for both of you. Solely one for Garrett. I love my favorite episodes are the ones where you guys work with animals, and I work with a lot of animals. On behalf of all the
I work with an animal every episode.
And on behalf of all the dogs, I know they want to know if Sam really does make the best belly scratches.
Yeah.
On a serious note, my favorite part of the entire show is the emotion you guys put into your faces when you act. And I want to know what it takes to get that emotion into your faces.
That's a tough question.
What it takes to get the emotion into my face? That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know that there's a lot of thought in like transferring it from here to here. I think once it gets in here and here, it just shows up there. And that's really the best. But yeah, it's a lot of times it's just listening and reacting accordingly to what's happening. And if your mind is open and it's gonna sound cheesy, like a K Jewelers commercial, and your heart is open, then the emotion just kind of comes as it comes, and it generally shows up on your face.
Jensen and I think we both talk about it a lot. My least favorite direction I've ever heard, and it hasn't been given to me because I'm an emotional guy, so it's easy for me to get emotional. But when I hear a director say to somebody, like, hey, this is, when you're gonna cry, you're like, not to me, but to a guest star or whoever else, you're like, you don't know, and there's nothing worse than seeing a performance on TV or a movie where somebody is not crying, and so they're fake crying or like really putting it on. It's just such a put-off. One of the best things I ever read was a quote by Robert De Niro. He was saying human nature is generally not to go like, here's me crying, but to hold it back. And it's that line between like you see somebody whose body and heart wants to cry, but their mind wants to hold it back. There's like fight it. That's what's exciting, and that's what's intriguing. And that's what's human nature. We've all had times where we're like, all right, hell with it, I just gotta cry this one out. And you do it willingly, but most of the time when you're legitimately brought to tears, you almost don't want yourself to be brought to tears. You know, you're like, hold back, all right, you're all right, brother. And then it happens. And to me, that's where a lot of the emotional magic is for like tears. But otherwise, it all comes from just a passion for these characters. I love Sam, you know, and Dean. I love Dean Winchester like a brother. I'll never meet the guy because he's fictional, and so is Sam. But I love them like brothers, you know? And so putting yourself in their position when they're getting emotional, it's easy to kind of channel it and find that spot. Yeah, thank you.
I do think though that there's some small changes that we can make in season 11 that I think would help propel the story a little bit more. Like salt-filled boogaloo's.
Did you ever really look around your neck?
Dude, I had one on the arm, one on the leg, one around the waist.
That's disturbing. That's like a feat of athleticism right there.
I would also guess your weight for 3 tickets.
You want a stuffed animal if he gets it wrong. All right. I don't know. I It's always so difficult. And the writers, I think they don't, it's not like they're not doing their job, but if they were thinking about season 11, then the rest of season 10 would probably suck. So I think they're just, they kind of live like Sam and Dean, like y'all guys. It's week to week. You know, like we don't know what's going to happen next week. And I used to have hopes and dreams of what would happen, but they were all smothered and shattered. They all blew up in a flurry of perdition. No, so I just kind of go with the flow. I kind of think of my job like Sam thinks of his job. Like I'm going to pick up the newspaper and see what's next. But I have no idea. So, if y'all are willing to come along for the ride, then I think we'll be all right.
I'm sorry you saw that.
Yeah. Jimmy,
Did you get that?
I heard it.
Did you get that over there? Loud and clear. Hi.
I had to deal with you, though.
Man, I got it on record and everything.
You did not earn that dollar. Sit down, Stephen Amell. Okay.
If I look like Matt Cohen, I would take my shirt off.
If I look like Matt Cohen, I wouldn't own a shirt.
Just one piece. Can't take it off. We'll probably find out next time Sam has that issue. I'm getting nervous.
You are a sweater.
I love you back. Yeah, thank you.
Hi.
Yeah.
And I love you. She's on to us.
I think that's probably a safe assumption. I do. And I think we saw Castiel extract most of Gadriel's, or most of the grace of it.
The very last question, and ask the thing that you wanted to ask, the thing that you have in your mind, you've been thinking about for days.